Hi guys, this is Angela from Panda Kisses, and today we are going to make Parker on the Porch's center zip splash bag. And you can see it looks like this. This is what we're going to be making. And you need a couple different things. So I was going to go over some of the things you need for this bag. You are going to need waterproofing fabric, which is called pole. So waterproof fabric pole. And the other one that people are using is called Oxford fabric. So you can use either of those. I bought this at Joann's. It came in 3 colors, which is this one, and this one. So this is pole fabric. You're going to want some pole fabric or Oxford fabric. And then you're going to want clear vinyl, and you want it at least 12 gauge. If it's any smaller than the 12 gauge, it like pulls right out of your bag. You can't like flip it. It doesn't stay secure. Like this one, for example, this is little smaller, it's thinner, and it pulls right out of the corners. So you have to be 12 gauge or higher and to make it work. So make sure you're using 12 gauge or higher, otherwise you're just going to be throwing your bag away. Okay, so I have pole fabric, which you're going to need, clear vinyl, at least 12 gauge, which I have. And I bought this at Joann's just on a roll. It's back in the upholstery type stuff. It's at my Joann's anyways. And it's fairly cheap. It's not super expensive. So I got a bunch of that. And then I'm going to use fold over elastic, which is basically just pretty elastic, because I'm going to put a lobster clasp. This is called a D lobster swivel lobster clasp. And I'm going to put this on there too, so it can hook onto things like your bag and stuff if you want. You don't need these. If this is just an option, I'm going to add it. And then I use fabric tack glue to close the hole in the lining, and I will show you how that works as well. But besides scissors and normal stuff, an embroidery machine, but this is just some of the stuff I use. So let's get started. I will meet you at the machine. I am gonna hoop a 5x7 hoop with 1 sheet of tearaway. Okay, we got the design up on the machine, and I have my 5x7 hoop. I have 1 sheet of tearaway, and I have white in my thing. I'm going to get started. I'm just going to go ahead and do the placement stitch, and then I will come back and show you. You do that directly onto your tearaway. So go ahead and stitch step 1 right there. The one we're going to focus on right now is the 3 right here in the middle. This is your zipper placement. It shows you where to place it. So the only thing you have to worry about is which way you want to pull from. If you want to pull this direction, make sure your zipper heads over there. If you want to pull this way, make sure to place it this way. So you're going to go ahead and put it between these 2 placement lines. This 3rd line is where the teeth of your zipper should line up. Now you just want to make sure that your zipper, this part of your zipper is over the stitch line and your pole is over there. If it can't get past the outside placement lines, either one of these, then you need a bigger zipper. This is just, this is the 5x7 design, and this is a 9-inch zipper. Now you just make sure that it's all along here. You can tape either side so it stays in place. I hold it like this as it stitches, just a preference, so you can do either. I switched my thread to pink right now because you will see the stitching. So I will show you. You will see I did white last time, and I actually don't want to see that stitching. It looks fine white, but I actually want it to blend. So I am going to use pink stitching on my pink zipper. Go ahead and run step 2. It's just going to run a line right here and then run a line right here. It's just tacking your zipper down to your tearaway. Okay guys, you can see that it went ahead and tacked down the zipper right here. It went ahead and stitched right here and then right here. So your zipper is now tacked down to your stabilizer. So now we are going to measure fabric, and I kind of measure all my fabric at once, and I measure it from my placement stitches. I don't go and read whatever they wrote. I don't even follow the instructions. So I measure from the next step you're going to do is to place the vinyl. So you need vinyl from right up here where your zipper line is to right here in the middle of these 2. So measure from here to here. You can see the 2 stitch lines. It's going to stitch over that spot, and it's going to be here. So your vinyl is going to be between these 2 stitch lines. So you need something that wide, that thick and wide, that long, length and height, and then you also need it right here. It's about 2.5 this way. I don't measure exactly. I just go ahead and cut. So I have my 2 pieces of vinyl. You can see mine is longer. See how mine is longer? We will trim that later. It's fine. You want a straight edge that can go up against your zipper like this. So you need 2 pieces of vinyl. So I have 2 pieces of vinyl cut. And you need a straight edge because you're going to put them like that in the next step. So I have my 2 pieces of vinyl, clear vinyl. Then you need the pieces right here, these corners right here. I am going to be using this fabric right here. Basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be placing it like this on this top line right here. You'll just go like this. And then once it stitches that tack down line, then we will fold it over on itself like that, and it will finish around this curve. So you need a piece that's big enough, that's this big, but a little bit bigger because you're going to fold it over. So do this with a little bit bigger. I'm not frugal with my fabric. I don't want to be short, so I just kind of cut a piece like that. Now you need 4 pieces of that side. You need it right here. You need the exact same size right here, and then you need the liners. So I cut 4 pieces of this. So you need the outside and the liner. So there's 4 pieces, which you're going to need. So go ahead and cut 4 of those. So you have 2 vinyls, 4 of those, the outside and the liner. And then you need the fabric that's going to show through the vinyl. That is your liner. This will show through the vinyl. So you need a piece that's big enough to go from here. You just want your outer thing. So measure from here to here, and then from here to here. You need 1 piece that's big enough to go here. This is your liner, and it will show through your vinyl in the end. So I have 1 piece of that, and it will show right here. So make sure it's going to show directionally. So make sure you cut it the right way directionally. And then you need a piece for the back of your bag, and you need the same size from here to here, the whole stitch, and from here to here. So I'm going to use this for the back of my bag. Okay, so that's what you need. You need the liner in the back of your bag, which is the same size. It's the full outside placement stitch. You need 4 of the little corners, the top and the bottom, because 2 are the outside and 2 are the liner. And then you need 2 pieces of the vinyl gauge, which is going to be from your zipper line to the middle of this. Don't do it too short because it can pull out, but we're not going to do it over this line either. We're going to cut so it doesn't mess with your corners turning. Okay, so that's how much fabric you need. I am going to meet you at the machine, and I'm going to show you how we put it all together now that we have our fabric cut. Okay guys, I'm back on my machine. I have my first sheet of vinyl up against my zipper. You can see I have my straight edge. It's all against my zipper. I have it over my placement lines. You can see it's up here. It needs to be all the way around. It doesn't have to be this far, but it has to be past this placement line. So like right here. I'm going to cut mine later. I just think it's easier. So I have it all around my placement lines, and you can see step 3 is going to be doing a tack down right here. So I'm keeping mine pink because you will see this thread, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 3. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. This is tacked down. You can see it's tacked down. Now we're going to do the other side. So I have my other side that we cut, the clean edge, straight edge, basically next to your zipper like that. It's going to stitch along this line right here, just tacking it down. Make sure you're across all your placement. And go ahead and stitch step 4. I'll come back and show you. The other side is tacked down. You can see it's tacked down right there. Now we are going to do the next step. We are going to go ahead and attach this piece right here. So take one of your things. Okay, we actually need to put the liner on the back. So take your hoop off, flip it over. You need to take one of these. Let me figure out which one we're doing. We're doing this side first. We're doing this side first right here. So if you take it, you can see on the machine which side you're doing. We're going to be tacking down this side first. And we tack down the top and the liner at the same time. So if your hoop was like this, we're doing this side over here. So I'm going to take this off. Okay, I'm going to do the liner first. I'm going to put it on. So you're going to take this and you're going to put it along this line, this top line right here, this one. And you're going to go ahead and put it like this, just barely over it. I would put it like right there. just barely over it like that. Make sure it's going to go ahead and stitch one line right here, tacking this down. And then the next step, we will pull it over the full placement line. This way it places it down, but you don't see the stitching. That's why you do it this way. So go ahead and tape this. This is on the underneath of your hoop, so you need to tape this down. I'm going to tape this all right here and tape this right here. I'm going to just make sure it's like that. And then I will come back and show you it taped. Okay, guys, you can see that I taped it here and I taped it here so it will stay on my hoop because this is the bottom of my underneath of my hoop. So we're going to flip it over. And now we're going to do the same thing on the front in that same line. So this is the same line right here, this line. We're going to go ahead and take our next piece of fabric, our top fabric, and we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. We're just going to make sure that it's completely over that line. And watch your directional fabric and stuff. And then the next step is just going to stitch one line right here, tacking the underneath and the top at the same time. So you can see step 5, it's just one line. It's just going to go ahead and tack that down. The other thing I'm going to do, this fabric, we're working with slippery vinyl and slippery pull. This fabric's really slippery and it moves and it pulls. It's not like cotton. So I'm going to slow my machine down, 1, so I can hold it better with my hands, but 2, I do my machine this way. I'm going to go here, and then you can search through these menus. And there's my speed. I'm going to turn my speed all the way down for the rest of this bag because the stuff moves around. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on my hoop. You can tape this on either side. I'm just going to hold it with my hands. I really don't like tape, so I'm going to just hold it as it goes. But it's a personal preference. You can do whichever you choose. So I'm going to put it back on the machine and stitch step 5, and I'll come back and show you. Another thing I wanted to tell you, when you put your hoop back on, I always look underneath my hoop to make sure that my taped fabric didn't mess up. Mine's still fine, but I just want you to make sure to check underneath before you stitch, because sometimes it moves or the tape came off or something. So make sure that your fabric's still in the right spot and go ahead and stitch step 5. And I changed my thread to black to kind of match this more. You shouldn't see a lot of the stitching from here on out, but in case you do see a little bit of it, I wanted it to match this better than the hot pink. Okay, this is what it should look like. This is the top of your hoop right here. You can see it did one line. And then I'm going to show you the bottom of the hoop. It went ahead and stitched right here. Okay, so now you can take this tape off. Oops. Right there. I'm going to take this other tape off. Okay. Oops, I can use the same tape. Now you're going to go ahead and fold this down, and you're going to tape this down. So tape there and tape there. You can also tape right here at the bottom. The next step is going to do the curve right here, tacking this all the way down. You can see step 6 is going to do the curve. It's going to tack this bottom under your hoop, and it's also going to tack the one on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this down, and then I'll tape the front, and then I'll come back and show you. This is what it should look like. You're going to go ahead and tape down the front. It's going to do that curve stitching right here. I probably would just hold this front while it stitches, but I thought I'd tape it down to show you. You're going to want to use quite a bit of tape if you're taping it and not holding it. The back is completely taped down. Okay, and now you're going to go ahead and put it back on your hoop. Make sure that it doesn't mess up the bottom when you stick it back on your hoop. So I put it in, and then I always kind of lift and look to make sure it's still all taped down and it's not folded up on itself. And then you're going to go ahead and run step 6, and it's going to tack down that curve. So I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked that down. And I actually took all my tape off and just held it because I like holding it better on the top. This one went ahead and did a great job too. So we have both done. Now we are going to do the exact same thing on this side. So if you flip this over, take your piece, exact same thing. You're going to go ahead and place this down and tape it. And then you're going to do the front. You're going to go ahead and put it on the front. So I will get this all taped, and then I'll show you what it looks like. That's what the back looks like. I just put one thing of tape on either side. Remember, it's going to do a straight line right here. Okay, we're going to go to the other side, and I hold this one, but I'm going to show you where you place it. So this is your last corner, so you're going to go ahead and you want to be past this line right here. So you're going to go like this, make sure it's all passed, and then I'm going to hold it, and we're going to go ahead and stitch step 7. I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, this is what it looks like, and I actually forgot a step. It's not a huge step, it's just going to make your corner tougher. I'm going to cut, this is when I normally cut the vinyl. If you cut the vinyl like I said originally where it doesn't cross this line, then you are fine. I don't measure that good when I'm getting my fabric measured, so I normally come in here and cut it. So I'm going to cut this one. So I'm just going to take this scissors. Sorry, oops, I'm cutting my fabric. It's hard to do this one-handed. I should probably go to the tripod. Okay, I'm just going to cut this, and I'm going to cut it along here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and I'll come and show you. I went ahead, so normally on this step, I would have this up, and then I would cut my excess, just so that thick, clear vinyl's not over your corner, because you're going to be flipping this in the corner. You want that to be easy to turn, and it's going to be hard if you have this thicker vinyl there. It can be done, it just won't be turned as well. So either measure correctly, like I said in the beginning, where you don't go over this line with your vinyl, or this is what I do. If I remember, I cut it right at this step. Right there, I cut it. Now, I already did this step, so I couldn't do that because it should have been cut like right here, but I did go ahead and take my applique scissors and I cut it as close as I could, so I'll probably be fine here too. But I just wanted to point that out. I forgot about that. Okay, so we are on the step where we flip it over, so I'm just going to hold this side right here. You can see that it tacked it down, but I'm going to tape the back. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to take this tape off. Okay, and I'm going to take this tape off right here. And now we're going to do like before. I'm going to fold it over like this. And I try to get it somewhat taut like that. And then I'm going to tape it. So I'm going to go ahead and tape it, and I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, it's all taped there. I have it all taped against my hoop. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. Put it back on my machine gently. Like that. I'm going to look underneath my hoop just to make sure that it didn't come off or get folded weird or anything. And it didn't. And then what I do is I just pull this down like this over my machine. I can walk all the way around my machine because I have it in the center island thing in my room. So I hold it. And I have it on my lowest speed, remember? So as it starts, it's going to start doing the curve. I just hold it as it goes all the way around, and I just move my fingers ahead of it like this. So it's taut and looks nice. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and run step 8, which is going to do the curve on this side, exactly what we did on the other side. Okay, guys, this is what it looks like. This is our front. This is our back right now. So now the next step is to put the back of your bag on. And whenever you put the back of your bag on, doesn't matter what zipper bag you're doing, you have to open your zipper. If you don't open your zipper, then there's nowhere to turn your bag. And your bag is it's garbage because you can't open it. So I'm going to open the zipper right now. Now you want to open your zipper far enough that it makes it easy to turn your bag. You want enough room this to be open because you're going to turn your bag through here. But you don't want it so far that the foot of your machine is going to hit it. So watch that as well, because the foot of your machine is going to go all the way around this placement line, and it needs to get past the foot, or this right here, your zipper pull. So leave it wide enough that it doesn't hit it, but big enough that you can turn your bag. Now, if you want to add anything to your bag, this is when you would do it. Like, for example, if you were adding words or something on this one, you probably wouldn't add words because it's vinyl, and it would ruin the point of it being waterproof if you stick a bunch of little holes in it. But on any bag, when you're ready to put the back of your bag on, you need to make sure anything you were stitching on it is already done. And this is where I'm going to add my fold over elastic with my D swivel lobster clasp. That's how you would look it up if you want to go find anything. Also, if you go into the underneath this video, under my name, it shows my name and it says something like this is a tutorial showing you how to make this bag. There's a little thing right there that says show more. If you click on that, it has all the links to this design. It has the links to zippers. It has the links to different vinyls I use. It's kind of a generic a free-for-all. It's the scissors I use. It's just the different materials I use. If you ever want any of the links, they're all right there. Okay, so the way I'm going to place this, you can place this anywhere around this outside line, because the next step is going to stitch around this outside placement line several times and closing your bag. So anything you put on it, you can put it here anywhere. I'm going to put it here right up against the zipper. I'm going to close this a little bit more because they're going to hit each other. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. Now, another thing to remember, anything you want to keep has to be facing the inside of your bag. Always remember that you cut the outside of your bag. So if you had this placed like this, you're just going to cut your ring off. There's no point in even putting it on. So it always has to face on the inside. If you have purse straps, anything, you're going to face what you want to keep on the inside. That's just a rule of thumb. Okay, so I'm going to place it like right here. Now, depending on how long you want it, how short you want it, determines on where you place it on this line right here. It's going to stitch across this line. So wherever you want it, that's how you're going to line it up, and that's how it's going to stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right there, and I'm going to put tape across this so it stays put. And I'm just going to kind of move this. I'm going to move this a little bit more so it can be in there a little bit more. I don't want this to hit this line either, because your foot will hit it. So you want to make sure that this stays up here too. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to take the back of my bag. Now I wanted to show you something. This was just my excess and I was trying to make it work. This was the excess of what I was cutting. And it will fit here, but it's going to be really tight. You need to be past this whole placement stitch around here. And you can see, one, it's cut at an angle because I just cut with scissors. So I can make this fit if I really place it exactly. But you see how there's not very much left over right there? I don't prefer to stitch this way because if you miss it, you have to start all over or pull out your stitches and repeat the step. So this is why I'm not very frugal with my fabric, because I don't want to stress about it. The other thing is my fabric is very directional, so if it's sideways, it's going to look really silly. And so I just went ahead and cut a bigger piece because I don't even want to mess with that. I'll use that for something else. So I cut a bigger piece, and I just wanted to show you this is why I am not frugal with this, especially for the back of your bag. You end up having a lot of bulk and stuff, so you want to make sure that it is good. Now, this is directional fabric. Make sure you place it the way you want. I'm going to try to actually line it up with this right here, so I can kind of, not like perfectly, but I can like get the things are going like that. And if I just pull, then you can see that I have plenty of room all the way around. I have plenty of room down here. I have plenty of room up there. I'm not stressing about, is it going to catch? And then the other thing is this fabric's super slippery. So if it moves at all and then you don't hit your stitch line, then it's just a big headache. So I actually would rather have more than not enough. So mine looks great. I'm going to bring it over to my machine and we're going to stitch the next step. I will show you. We are on our machine. I also double checked to make sure all the stuff underneath didn't move or fold because I have excess. If the tape came up on like this, if the tape came up on this and it folded over, then it's going to mess up your project. So I always continue to look underneath here, make sure my tape's still holding, because if any of that excess fabric folds over, it's going to get stitched into this next step and then your bag's going to be ruined. So make sure to double check that when you have a bunch of stuff underneath your hoop. Now I am ready to go. I just hold this as it goes around. I don't tape it. You can tape it if you prefer. It is going to stitch around your entire outside placement stitch several times, closing your bag. Make sure your zipper is open. I will come back and show you what it looks like. Hey guys, this is what it looks like, the front of your hoop. Now you're going to turn your hoop upside down. Okay, and now you are going to be placing your liner on. This is the last stitch step. So you want to do right sides together, like this. Now remember, whatever you're putting, you see these spots right here, between here and here, is going to show through your clear vinyl. You are going to see it, so make sure your directional fabric is the right way, and whatever you think is the prettiest is in that spot. But you still got to make sure you're over all of these placement lines, these outside placement lines, okay? So all these little flowers and stuff are going to show through mine, okay? So you're going to go ahead and put it like that. Make sure you're all the way over. Right sides together, and you're going to tape. This is underneath your hoop, so I'm going to tape all the way around here. Okay, I will come back and show you. I have it taped all the way around. I'm going to carefully put it back on my hoop, and then I'm going to double check to make sure it stayed fine. Let's see if I can... trying to get it under my foot. There we go. Put it all the way on. And then lift up and make sure that it's all still straight and nothing's in the way. Sorry, you're seeing my hand. It all still looks straight. Nothing's folded over weird. Okay, and then your last step is step 10 is going to go ahead and stitch like that all the way around, leaving a hole so we can flip through that hole. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. I will come back and show you. Okay, guys, this is what the front of our bag looks like. And this is what the underneath of our hoop looks like. You can see that it's stitched all the way around, leaving an opening right here. This will be our hole that we turn to. So now we can take all of our tape off and take it out of our hoop. I have like so much tape, so we'll see how good this works. I'm gonna have to like take all this tape off. I taped a lot more on this bag than I do on others just because it's this pull material that slides around all over the place. So, let's get part of it out. Stuck to this vinyl. Put all this tape off my thing later. Okay, so now I take my stabilizer out and whatever tape off you can get off. Okay. A lot of this tape is going to be cut off anyways, but it just bugs me. It's like all over the place. That's why I don't like tape. I got some of it off. I'm going to start cutting. Okay, so I cut at an angle. Find your opening. Make sure you're looking at the side with your opening right here. It shows you where it starts and stops. This is what side I cut from. I take heavy duty scissors because you are cutting through a lot of fabric. I cut at an angle like this because we have to close this hole later, and it helps having this excess fabric to the side. Okay, and then you're just going to cut all the way around your stitch lines, and just don't cut your stitch lines. That's all you are worried about. Okay, you're cutting through zippers and different things, so make sure you have good enough scissors to do that. Okay, then when you get to this other line right there, I turn the opposite direction. I can get to the edge, and I cut out. Okay, so this is all garbage. Okay, so then you are gonna have some liners. So these two on either side of your hole are what's gonna close your thing. You don't need this excess. So I'm gonna cut this excess off. I'm gonna hold this out of the way because I actually want that. And then maybe I'll cut this way first. Okay, just make sure not to cut your stitch lines. If you need to cut twice to make sure you're doing fine, do that. Like I'll cut like that, and then I'll flip over and get it closer. Whatever you leave right here is going to be kind of bulky, and it's going to be harder to close your bag. So I try to get it, but don't get your stitch lines. Okay, so I got it kind of close right there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and turn our bag. You're going to turn it through this first one. I'm going to make these two even real quick, or close to even, because we're going to use these two to close it. There we go. Okay, so now it's time to flip your bag through this hole. Just be kind of gentle. You have that vinyl in here, so it might be a little bit bulky. The pull fabric is definitely super thin and easy to turn. So it's only going to be your vinyl gauge. Okay, but it's not too bad to turn. And this is the 5x7 size, so anything bigger is going to be even easier. Okay, now I'm going to use this. I use this all the time with my bags. It's a turning system for sewing, but it's like basically like a chopstick. You could use the eraser end of a pencil too. I just use it very gently to get my corners out. It just helps get my corners turned. So that's what I use, so I can get all the way in here. Don't press too hard though, because I've gone through a bag before. And I'm not using the pointy end, I'm using the blunt end right here to do it. If you use a pointy end, your chances of going through your bag are higher. Okay, so I'm just going to get the last corner like that. Okay, so we have all of our stuff. Now what you're going to do, we're going to close this hole here on the bottom in a minute, but you need to take all the stabilizer off. Now I'm just using a sheet of tearaway, so you're going to want, mine comes out pretty good. My tearaway is kind of crispy. I actually don't like this tearaway. This is what Amazon sent me the last time I ordered it. I don't love it. You can hear how hard it is. Mine's more like a thicker paper for some reason versus like fabric like my other one was, but it's going to be easy to pull out. You're going to want to pull all of this out and then come back and I'll show you what mine looks like, but I'm just going to pull all of this out. I'm going to get this one started over here. I don't want to go through my vinyl though. There we go. Okay, so it should pull out pretty easy. See, mine kind of tears like this. But because you have clear vinyl there, you're not going to want to see any of it. Okay, so I'm going to go through and pull all of this out, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay, guys, this is what it looks like. All of it is torn out. It actually was pretty easy to do. Now we're going to go ahead and close this hole down here. So you're going to go ahead and fold it over. This is why I use the extra fabric because, or leave that fabric, because I sandwich it like this. Okay. And then I can use these little wonder clips, or you can use clothes hangers right here. So these are the wonder clips. Okay. So then I just get it set up how I want it. I cover these little stitch lines. That's what I follow. So I'm going to go like this. I'm just getting it set like that. Okay, like that. Now this is in the inside on the bottom, so you're not really going to notice it much anyways. Now I use this fabric tack glue. There's, you could use like the no hem tape or any of those things. This is just what I always use. I do this side first. I just get it out. This is clear. It dries in about 3 to 5 minutes. There it comes. And I just put it along the stitch line right here. Make sure you can see right there. And then I make sure it's folded in. If there's any excess coming out, I just wipe it. Like strings, and then I just put these on to hold it together. Okay, and then I open this side and I just put some more. Make sure it's folded in. And then the last little bit. Sorry, this glue goes down every time you turn it back the other direction. It has to come back down. I use this glue for like every bag, so it's kind of almost out. I need another one. Okay. We are all set. Okay, so I'm just gonna let this sit from like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, somewhere around there, and I will come back and show you what we do next. I'm going to show you a few things about this first one. This vinyl tore. I didn't even like turn it and it tore out of the seam. I wanted to show you the difference. My problem is I had it from like 2 years ago when we made another bag, and I didn't, it's not marked on here. This is what it looks like right here. I had it like this. I threw it away, so it's all crumpled now. So I didn't know how thick it was, and I didn't know that it wasn't going to work because I don't have this labeled, so I didn't even know what the thickness was, and I hadn't used it in like 2 years or whatever it was. So this is what I had used on this bag, and it tore right out. So yesterday I went and bought some different bags, but I wanted to show you the difference. This has a blue. I'm guessing the color has something to do with it because this one's blue and the 12 gauge has green on the outside, but they're not really labeled very well. So this is the one, it's just like, I don't even know what gauge this is, like 4 or something. I don't know. It's really, really super thin and wrinkly. This is the 12 gauge that you need. You need at least this 12 gauge, and you can see that this is different. See? It doesn't like wrinkle the same way. It's thick. It's way thicker. So I wanted to show you that. And the one that I bought yesterday is on a really huge, like long upholstery type roll, and it was on the sale. I bought it at Joann's yesterday, and it was $5.99 a yard on sale, and it was 12 gauge. So I just wanted to show you the difference between the vinyls and why this failed, and I just didn't know. So when you buy your clear vinyl, mark it. It's kind of like all my stuff. If I don't mark it, I don't know what it is, but you can just see this tears right out. Any pressure, look, I'm barely pulling. It just tears. So don't use, the gauge makes a big difference on if you can make this or not. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. That's why the other one failed. So I'm going to take these off because it's been 3 to 5 minutes, and you can see that it is sealed and closed and there's no holes, and it's completely fine. So now we are going to flip through our zipper. So depending on how wide you made it, that will determine on how big or how easy it is to turn. The other thing you can do is at this point, we'll see if I can do it. I think you can push this a little bit more. Not really. I'm just going to turn it because mine's big enough. So go ahead and flip through your zipper. The vinyl's a little bit hard to turn. You can pull on your little zipper pull, and then again, I'm using my fingers, but then I'm going to use that little turning tool to get my corners really nice. Okay, now this is the final time you turn, so you do want your corners like really good. Okay, so I have it. This is my turn. Get my little thing. Okay, and now I'm going to work on my corners looking really good. The sides. Okay, I'm gonna shut it. All my mess. Okay, here's our bag. It is complete. You can see it's super cute. Here's our pole that we added. There's the back. This is our corners we made. Remember when we were doing the sides? That's what it looks like when it's done. There's the back, and then this is your liner fabric. Whatever you put here shows through. Now this is all pull material, so this is a really neat, fun makeup bag. So if you take a bunch of, I'm going to take a bunch of makeup. This is just what I have sitting here, and you put it all in here. I mean, you can see this is the 5x7, and it barely even fills with that much right there. You can have lots in here, and then it can hang. So super cute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions or issues, let me know. But if not, I hope this helped, and make sure to post your projects over in the Parker on the Porch Facebook group. We always like to see what you make with the designs, and we award people in the newsletter each Friday as well for your projects. So hope you enjoyed. If you want to be notified of tutorials when I do them, I kind of do them randomly. Sometimes I do them on new designs. Sometimes I do them on request. Sometimes if people are asking a lot of questions about a design, I'll go ahead and make one. But if you go ahead and subscribe and you click on the little bell thing, it will notify you when I upload a new tutorial. And all my tutorials are Parker on the Porch. So if you randomly found this one, if you go to my channel, I have over 60 tutorials for Parker on the Porch in the hoop projects. Enjoy. Have a good day.